All right, so today's lesson is about the order of operations with powers. This is in your textbook, chapter 2.3. Kind of confusing though, because in our book, it's our third unit, so we're calling it 3.2. But either way, we're going to take some stuff that we learned about order of operations from the previous units, and now we're going to apply them to working with powers. So some stuff is going to stay the same. We're just going to apply our new knowledge about what powers are and how they work. The key to being able to solve any one of these problems is going to be to solve the powers first before we try to add the number. That's going to be our key. We'll write that down. Key. Solve powers first, then add, or subtract, or divide, or multiply. All of our orders of operations will stay the same after the fact. All right, so I think with that in mind, we could probably get started on the problems. So this first one, A, we have got 3 cubed plus 2 cubed. Remember, cubed means to the power of 3, three-dimensional power of 3 cubed. So 3 cubed, we are going to write it out as a repeated multiple. We did this in class yesterday. We have 3 cubed, which will be 3 times 3 times 3. And then we add 2 times 2 times 2. Pretty straightforward. We take 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And then plus 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2, 8. 27 plus 8 gives us a final answer of 35. 35 is our final answer for part A. All right, part D. Now, this one doesn't look like a power, but it technically is, the 3 there. That would just be what? 3 to the 0. 3 to the 0 gives us 3. So technically we've got a little imaginary. That's wrong. 3 to the 1. 3 to the 1 would give us 3. 3 to the 0 gives us 1. We're still learning here. We're still learning here. One of you definitely would have corrected me on that if we were doing this in person. So 3 to the 1, a little imaginary 1. All we need to do is just rewrite that one. 3, and then minus and evaluate the 2 cubed, or the 2 to the power of 3 separately. 2 times 2 times 2. Yeah. We're recording right now, so this is going to go on my YouTube channel. Yeah, so now they're going to hear this on the video, but that's okay. Mr. Clement is here just admiring the situation or the setup that we've got here and how it's going to work. All right, so 3 minus 2 times 2 times 2, which we said in the last problem, was 8. 3 minus 8 gives us a final answer of -5. So -5 is our answer for B. Moving along. Now we've got our first scenario here. In our previous lessons, we kind of looked at a couple of scenarios where we had brackets and stuff like that. So now we've got our first scenario with a bracket involved. 3 plus 2 inside of the brackets, and then the power of 3. So here I'm just going to make a little note. We're going to do our brackets first. Remember, we're not changing anything about our orders of operations. We still follow BEDMAS, so we still do brackets first, and then we'll do our exponents. Right? We even did it in part B. We did our exponents first, and then we did our addition, subtraction, and in this case, it'll be division and multiplication. So inside of our brackets, 3 plus 2 is just 5. And now we've got a very straightforward 5 to the 3. As a repeated multiple, 5 times 5 times 5, which gives us 5 times 5, 25 times 5, 105. We're doing great. Halfway there. All right. Example number 2. Now, we looked at the adding and subtracting first. Now we're just adding that next step of order of operations, which is multiplying and nothing really changes here. Make sure that you just remember what order everything has to be done in. Okay. In this case, I'm going to look at this, and I have to deal with everything inside of my brackets before I deal with that too. And inside of my brackets, I have some multiplication and I have some subtraction. But I also have an exponent inside of my brackets. So inside my brackets, I should deal with my exponent. If I do that, I will end up with this being equal to 2 times, what is negative 3 cubed? Negative 3 cubed will be negative 27. I'll show you my work for that over on the right-hand side right after this. Minus 6 squared. Let's show how we got negative 27 quickly here. We got negative 27 by evaluating negative 3 inside of a bracket cubed. All that means is it's negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And if I do that, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 2 negatives makes a positive. And then multiplying by negative 3 again will give us 20. Okay. So that's where we got that. Now, if we move on, looking at still order of operations, we're still evaluating inside of the bracket. Now we need to do our multiplication. So 2 times negative 27, this is what we're going to do next. This is our second step here. If we do that, 2 times negative 27, we should get negative 54, and then minus 6. All of that is in the brackets and squared. So negative 54 minus 6 should give us negative 60. It's our next, we still have to deal inside of the brackets here. Negative 60 squared, and negative 60 squared is going to give us, it's basically just saying, show our work over here. We're basically just saying negative 60 times negative 60. Plug that into your calculators or do the mental math. You should get 3,600. So that's your answer. Positive 3,600 after all that. Okay. One last example. Looks like maybe our trickiest one yet. We have got to do 18 squared plus 5 to the 0. All of that within brackets and then squared. Divided by negative 5 inside of brackets cubed. So let's take a look at what we're going to evaluate first. I am looking at doing this first because it's inside of brackets. I'm going to do this right away because it's inside of the brackets. And we might as well, this is kind of separated over here. We can evaluate this exponent here too. You can do these two first and then leave this one for after. But because of my limited space, I'm just going to do them all at the same time. So remember that 18 squared is the same thing as 18 times 18. To plug that into our calculators, we should get that 18 times 18, or 18 squared, is equal to 324. Plus 5 to the 0. This time I'm right. Any number raised to the 0 is just 1. So 5 to the 0 is 1. And squared, don't forget that. And then divided by, what is negative 5 cubed going to be? I'm actually going to hold off. We'll do the work together here to see what this is going to give us right here. -5 cubed is equal to -5 times -5 times -5. All of that multiplied by one another. -5 times -5 is 25 positive, and then multiplied by -5 gives us a total of -125. So writing out what we have now, we all know we can do 324 plus 1 should give us 325 squared divided by, keep that negative inside the brackets here, -125. 325 squared, that's 325 times 325, and we get 105,625 divided by -125. And that's our last step. 105,625 divided by -125 gives us a total of, or a final answer of -845. So there we have it. Some practice doing some orders of operations involving powers. Now, don't leave quite yet because you have some assigned textbook problems that were not printed here. So practice problems that I want you to work on your textbook or inside of your textbook. This could either be in the Google Classroom or on your physical textbook. I want you to work on, they are pages 66 to 68, and I want you to do the following questions. I want you to do 3, give them all a shot. Remember, keep in mind, even from what we were doing before, these ones go pretty quick. There's multiple parts to them. I think it's like A through E or something, but they go pretty fast. We'll do 3, 4, 5. Those are all kind of good warm-up ones. We'll skip up to 8 and 9. And then I want you to do 10, and then 20 is your biggest challenge of all of those. 20 will be a little bit more of a challenge, but I think you'll be able to do it just fine. For question 9, it's kind of a fun one. It just tells you to come up with a mnemonic device for making a mnemonic device for bed mass. If you come up with anything super creative, I want you to share it on the classroom with me in the comments, okay? So take care. See you next time. If you got any questions, you can just comment on the Google Classroom or on the YouTube video here, because I think I will be uploading this to you. All right, we'll see you later.